Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo.
I shortened it and
Bravo.
changed it. So.
Yes, you did. That was not as scary.
Not as scary.
That was awesome. I love that so much, Justice. That is so cool. Great job.
I prefer that one too. Let us know in the comments if you like the new intro or the other one better.
Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. I'm happy to be here. Hi guys. How are you
Kimberly.
today?
Welcome.
Well, I'm well, Kimberly, and I hope you're well. I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you're ready for some back and forth here on CarEdge Unplugged.
Bring it on. I'm very excited for this. Let's go.
Yeah, today's your day to let loose, Kimberly. You can say anything you want. Just don't call me names. You can call Ray names. Just don't call me names. I can't handle it. And let's go for it. So what is our subject today? We are talking, is EV the life for me? And all things that are great about Tesla, and how they're the best car ever made. I believe we just talked about on your show, Ray, about how Tesla just keeps hitting the top of all these very relevant lists. Very, very relevant lists. Of,
the
loyalty.
very relevant, irrelevant lists. Yes. Yes, but they did dethrone Ford for was it brand loyalty or manufacturer loyalty or some type of loyalty. I'm not 100% sure what type of loyalty it's supposed to be, but happy for Tesla that they were able to dethrone Ford. Means nothing to me either way, but it made for a conversation.
Well, let's not forget they eclipsed Ford in brand loyalty and sales, but they did not eclipse them in recalls. So Ford still has a strong hold in recalls.
Ford, go.
That's a title that I don't seem to want to let go of.
Never disappoints. No, never disappoints. Well, I know we got a couple things, right? We have a couple of things to discuss. I think the biggest thing was, for me anyway, lifestyle, and does an EV work for me? No. End of story. Move on. It doesn't.
All right. Well, it's a good show, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Great show. Thanks for being here. But I do have a couple points that I would love to bring up with you guys and get some feedback on. Okay, because I did some research to see if a Tesla would actually work for me and my lifestyle where I live. Is it going to work? And I will tell you, Justice, through my small bit of research that I did on Tesla, I chose a Tesla Y long range. I want the one with,
to be clear. Yeah, isn't the X your favorite?
Yeah, I can't afford that. Unless you want to buy me, that'd be great. But no, I had to come down a little bit to the Y long range. But I looked at maps and I see how long it takes me to get from my house to my son's house. It's 292 miles. It's through the mountains. It's through Doddridge County, West Virginia. If anybody knows where that is, you'll know. You're not. Yeah, it's not going to work. But there's something called EV anxiety. I have it. And I'm going to tell you why. Women have it the most. I'm a little disappointed in yes. Really? I'm a little disappointed in how Tesla has marketed to women to begin with. But I also did a little research to see why women aren't buying as many EVs as men. One of them is marketing, but another one is something that's real called range anxiety. We have it. I have it. And I found out that other women have it as well. Okay, there you go.
I hate to say this, but I've pretty much had range anxiety for almost 72 years now. But I think I'm speaking about a completely different range. I'm not 100% certain. But gosh, I crack myself up, and I do apologize.
I know.
I think we're missing. You could possibly be missing a point here, Kimberly, and
okay.
because I think I think if you could take a slightly different approach towards EV life, okay,
Mhm.
I believe HGTV could be ready for that new show, EV Life with Kimberly Kline,
I don't
because
think
I watched the series Mexico Life. Well, I would be interested to watch a series about EV life and you helping people get into their EV of choice, and then at the end of every episode they could speak about how having finally gone to an EV has really improved their life and their lifestyle.
really.
So I think if you could turn your thinking 180 degrees, I could have a future for you on HGTV. I'll be more than happy to pitch the series idea.
Well, thank you for that, Ray. I will keep that in my closet somewhere.
Well,
In the back of the closet there somewhere. I don't think so. I,
so if
yeah.
if I may answer you though, Kimberly, I know for one, I think EV started as like myself, a tech more than it was something else. So I think that's why you see more male adoption. Guys are into tech, high tech, and that sort of gets us going.
No.
But I do agree that they need a better job of marketing to women. Part of that is building the cars that women want, which are mid-size and full-size SUVs.
Correct. Yes.
Predominantly. But for the range anxiety, I will say this. I think we hinted on this on last Friday's show with Justin, but I say it again, is in your ICE vehicle, you have the same sort of range of disparity in the range when it's cold or you're towing or you're going uphill versus downhill and all that. It's just you're not looking at the miles every single day. And in the EV, it's the miles that you're put in front of you. So this is how many miles you have that's put in front of you, which is why in a Tesla in particular, as the miles aren't exactly correct, they're not correct at all. You put it to battery percentage, and that gets you closer to like, okay, I have a quarter of a tank, a half a tank, a full tank. And that sort of wears less on the range anxiety. I think when you're looking at how many miles you have every second of every day, you'll get more range anxiety out of it because you're looking at your range. Whereas you're not used to, in an ICE vehicle, looking at how many miles you can drive still. So I think that's part of this range anxiety thing. I had it too when I set mine to miles all the time. And I was like, oh, I only have 40 miles. Of course, Tesla actually has an extra 20 underneath that. So you don't hit zero and then, you're dead on the side of the freeway, right? Just like an ICE vehicle, when you hit empty,
you're not really
empty. You got a little bit more. So Tesla does the same thing on the battery. Also, because if you literally ran the battery to zero, you would never be able to use that vehicle again because you can't charge it. So there's an extra something in there for that.
But there aren't any Listen, I'm going through the mountains. There's nothing. If anybody's ever been through Garrett County, Maryland, into Doddridge County, West Virginia, and I looked at the map as well. Like it takes me, I even wrote it down, to go to my son's house, 292 miles. Tesla recommends that I stop in Morgantown for a 35-minute recharge, which takes me from 4 hours and 27 minutes to 5 hours and 17 minutes. Now, I get it. I can cut that down by not charging it as much as needed. This is with a supercharger. But the amount of Tesla chargers from my house to there, if you look at a map and you look at the state of West Virginia, Maryland and Pennsylvania, and I'm talking Western Maryland and Pennsylvania, well, you'll clearly see there are the least amount of chargers there. That gives me anxiety.
Certainly.
I was going to ask a question, if I may. Are there that same route? Are there an inordinate number of gas stations available along the way, or is it a
Yeah.
limited number of gas stations?
Yes, there are tons of gas stations along the way. And can I just ask a question to the ladies out there? I have a really, and I don't care, you can laugh at me if you want, but women, is there any kind of a safety factor that you're concerned about? And the only reason I ask that is because you're sitting in your car, you're charging. I get it. There are other chargers there with you. I looked at the one in Morgantown, and it says that there are 8 at this one location between my house and my son's house. But I have to sit there for a longer time. And I'm picturing myself jumping out of my car, filling it up with gas. It takes me, 3 minutes, and I'm out of there. But now I'm going to be sitting in my vehicle with maybe other people around, maybe not, by myself for a longer period of time. Are there any women out there that have that safety thinking? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's just you. You know, I would say that it's definitely something I don't really think that much about
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
But I also don't, you know, I'm not doing overnight trips and charging in the middle of the night, some random weird place. So, you know, that could be something there. As far as your, you know, going around on your trip, did you just use Tesla or as your planner?
No, I looked at not the one that's not plugged. What's it called? Justise. Plugged.
Unplugged?
No. The name of the PlugShare. PlugShare. I use
PlugShare.
the PlugShare thing for other EVs as well. There are many more. I don't want to go to the ones that are not supercharged or level 2. I want to go to those. I don't want to go to anything lesser than that.
Yeah, you don't want to do it. Yeah, though anything less than level 2 is a destination charger. Okay, so you know, I would use a better route planner. That's the name of the app. It's called a better route planner, and it'll tell you how to get to anywhere with those charges. Certainly nothing I've ever thought about, and you know, I'm always at a station with multiple other people. Most of us are watching Ray on YouTube, for example, as I was this last Saturday. When I had to pull over because the live show was starting. So I just pulled into a parking lot and started watching YouTube. But, you know, I guess there's a pro and con to that. You're not really paying attention to your surroundings either when you're watching your screen. Something I had not thought of, but, you know, I've also gotten gas in southern Chicago and had some tense moments there when I was driving cross country. So I would just say it sort of depends where you are and the anxiety and the, you know, that can kind of go for everything.
Absolutely. And I'm picturing myself at night out in the middle of nowhere. And yes, not all of them are well lit. I will tell you that the ones that we have around me here close by they're just not. They're not well lit. And when walking past them into a store or something, I think about that. What if I was one of those people sitting in that car, waiting for my car to charge? There are a lot of things I can do. I could be scrolling on my phone, maybe getting some work done. Oh, well, thank you. Okay, so I'm not crazy then. It's just something that I thought.
Well, that's a different question. That's a different question entirely.
Oh, well, my team has told me otherwise, but.
Yes.
And I would think if you're charging your vehicle and you're sitting in the vehicle, and you're scrolling on your phone, well, then you're certainly not paying attention to what's going on in the environment around you. And if you're not paying attention, then that would make it easier for someone, if they wanted to do something that they shouldn't, to be able to do it. if we're not cognizant of our surroundings and what is going on around us, then we can't protect ourselves from what's going on around us. So, I never really thought about that your concerns about that, but they are legitimate, and that just greatly opened my eyes as to a concern that anybody should have, man or woman, but especially as but I think a woman would feel more vulnerable perhaps than a man would. Although I'm a short little guy, so I would feel fairly vulnerable. At almost 72, it's like, whose ass am I kicking if they want to come over and start something with me? So yeah, I never thought about that before. Because when I think, okay, people want to drive cross country, so they'll drive as far as the vehicle will take them, and they'll go check into a hotel or a motel somewhere that has a charger, and they'll charge their car overnight. But not everybody's doing that. So, yeah, that's a real legitimate concern.
Well, I will say this. Part of this thinking is, how many times a year are you going on these overnight trips?
Several. So my son is like 4.5 hours one way. The beach is 3.5 hours the other way. So yeah. And I live in a place where you don't just run down the street. If I want to go to a Walmart, a grocery store, get my hair done, all those things, it's a minimum of 15 minutes, minimum. Many times much longer. So I'm not in a city, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but so the thing with EV that a lot of people who don't drive them don't fully appreciate is that you're charging at home most of the time.
Yes,
the vast majority of the time. So all of your errands, and probably even the 3.5 hours to the beach, you would get to the beach and you'd find a public charger where you're there. You plug in and you go do your beach stuff, and then you go back. And so there isn't a stop along the way. Maybe through the mountains. Certainly it depends if it's all uphill or not, because you get a lot of that back, especially in a Tesla with regen braking on the downhill side of it.
True. Very true.
So you'll get a lot of that back. So there's less stopping than you would do traditionally. It's not one of these situations where you're always going to be going to the gas station, as you have to in a nice car, because you always have to go to the gas station because you're charging at home. So my only pushback on this is, you won't really have that situation happen all that much, I don't think. Even if you're driving 45 minutes each way each day to get to the Walmart or the grocery store, and then you drive back, because first off, you're leaving with 80-90% battery, and then you come back and you just plug it back in and you go about your life again. And it's not a thing like the gas station where you always have to go and stop. It's only for the long road trips. And then, like I said, like if it's to the beach or to your son, if you can get there with more than 10% still remaining on your battery, you just plug in when you get there, and you don't even, you just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I have a question, and I think this is probably more for you, Justise, than necessarily Kimberly, but Kimberly can feel free to chime in as well. When we talk about EV lifestyle, okay, a rather large percentage of the vehicles that are sold in this country are SUVs, four-wheel drive SUVs. If you are an outdoorsy person, I'm not, but if you were, and you had, an SUV, electric SUV, and you I don't know, you want to go to Yosemite or wherever it is, along the Appalachian Trail, or you're going to go camping somewhere.
Yeah, up in the mountains.
How do you charge the damn thing then?
Well, that comes to other third-party chargers, but the largest one in recreational areas is Rivian is building. their network for as long as they last.
Yeah, I mean, what's
so- yeah. So,
may I make a joke about that?
yeah.
Why build a network when you have no vehicles that can charge at it?
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, there are a lot of plans, and that's, I think the Build Back Better infrastructure plan for EVs, this whole thing is at first into the high traffic areas to make people like Kimberly feel better about the range and where they can go. And then the phase 2, I think, is expanding out to more of those rural areas. I mean, it's not like if you had a gas powered vehicle, you don't have to worry about that either. There's, there's no gas station in Mount McKinley, right? So you just got to sort of plan, and you have to know
But
how much you can get out
my
there.
guess is on whatever road you're traveling to get to Mount McKinley, there's probably a gas station and a sign right before you get to that gas station that says, "This is the last gas station before you get to Mount McKinley."
I will say this: the signs are a big deal. That is a bigger deal than people understand. If there's a gas station close, there's probably a charger close as well of some sort or another. But will you be warned ahead of time? No, there's no, hey, last charger for 100 miles or 1,000 miles. They're just, last charger for 1,000 miles, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But
You sure are. You sure are.
There isn't any electric vehicle that's going that.
You shouldn't be on that road.
Yeah.
So Justice, this takes me back to a point that I made a long time ago with you, and that is, listen, I can put a couple of gallons of gas in a little gas can for emergencies. So where are the superchargers, the supercharger boxes? That's what I want. I want to have some sense of peace of mind that I've got this little box just in case I get stuck in traffic and on the way there, and it's going to take me 10 hours instead of, you know what I mean? I want something for an emergency.
Well, so trucks exist. If you run out of, for example, if you buy a Tesla and you run out of a charge on the side of the road, you just call Tesla. It comes free with your vehicle for the life of the vehicle, and they'll come out there and they'll get you enough charge to get you somewhere to the next closest charger. Whether that's something you can carry with you, they have those. They do have those chargers, but it doesn't seem to be worth it right now. They seem to be more heavy than power that they give you back. So you're sort of carrying something that's lowering your range so you could have something to increase your range.
Gotcha.
So those right now.
Is there a plan in the future? You know me, I always think out of the box, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. But is there a plan in the future to have something within EVs that as you drive, you're actually charging a generator that you could then use to help charge the car? Well, is there something along those lines that the future might hold?
Yes, in regenerative braking that comes in.
Besides that, though,
where you recapture some of your power.
Yeah,
but as far as like an alternator sort of situation, where you're recharging it, I mean, the motor has some of that already, a little bit in it. That's part of how they determine range. But I don't know. I think battery chemistry is what they're focusing on most right now, because once we get to solid state, nickel hydride or whatever batteries, things change dramatically in that. And you can have smaller, lighter batteries that hold more charge. So you get longer range with a lighter battery as far as that goes, and they can charge faster. I know the V4s that Tesla is working on chargers, where you're talking about gigawatt charging. So you're charging in 7-8 minutes instead of 15-20 minutes. All that sort of is out there, and it's coming. And as I say all the time, this is a technology that is in its infancy, even though it started at the same time as a gas engine way back when. and they abandon it. But this is still in its infancy, and things are changing. And what I would say is, rather than doing an extender like that, I think battery chemistry and more efficiency. And then, of course, you've got things like solar vehicles being produced down in Australia that literally are just being powered by the sun.
That's cool. That's
You
pretty
know,
cool.
all this stuff sort of comes into play, and maybe, your car will have some sort of solar just to help increase its range. Maybe you won't be running on that all the time, because Kimberly, I got to imagine you out there in West Virginia with all your trees aren't quite the same as here in California with all the sunshine.
Yep.
So it may not be as practical to have a solar vehicle, but you still get some sun.
Yeah.
I think these are the futures of what we're looking at, is battery technology and things like that, rather than sort of an alternator sort of thing. Although, who is it? I want to say it's GM that is coming out with a gas range extender. So we'll see how that plays out for the EV people who I'm not sure want to go to that route or not. We'll see.
Interesting.
And I think we touched on this Friday, but I don't remember. Is there a push somewhere within the EV industry to standardize the plug so that it'll be the same, whether you go to a charging station in Amarillo, Texas, or a Tesla supercharger, or will there be, at one time when it came to videotape players, there was a beta version from Sony and the VHS version, and ultimately VHS won out. That became the standard. And it seems to me like USB-C cords have become the standard for personal electronics recently. So will there become a standard within the EV industry that all vehicles will be able to use the same plug? They'll all have the same receptacle.
So yes and no.
Okay, perfect.
Let's start with that. Let's start with Americans are very big about their free economy and private business doing what they want to do. Europe has already decided a standard.
Okay.
It's a CCS adapter. Boom. That's it. That's what you got. That's what even Tesla has to use that. So they had to make changes and adapters and things with that. I think the Tesla Magic Dock sort of goes away to solve that one. I would caution that things like the USB-C connector for your iPhone are a perfect example of the dangers of conformity. It's not as fast as upgraded technology could be. So once you standardize, I think there's a fear that when you standardize, you're going to lose advancement in technology. So the CCS currently couldn't handle the 1 gigawatt charging that the Cybertruck and Tesla Semi are doing. Right. So what do you do then? Well, if the standard is CCS, you're capped out at that technology until everyone is ready to improve. I think adapters are the best way out there to do that right now. Like the Tesla Magic Dock, which they're installed more and more of now. So, I mean, Americans are just resistant to government forcing private industry to do this or that. So here, less so. In Europe, there already is a standard. That is what the standard is, and even Tesla had to comply with it.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, how come the manufacturers haven't gotten together and said, I mean, wouldn't it be easier for the manufacturers if they all said, gee, this is the standard we all should be working. This is the one we think we all should be working towards. And so, why doesn't Tesla and Ford and GM and whoever else is making electric vehicles around the world, why don't, VinFast, why don't they all get together and say, this is going to be the standard. So let's figure out how to make it the best possible standard for all of us.
Because I think Harry has it on the head here. You have to pay a licensing fee. Tesla opened up its charging port and technology to everybody. They said anyone can use this. You just have to pay a nominal fee to use it. So nobody adopted it. And they all adopted these other different ones because everyone who has the technology, of course, wants a cut of that technology. You know, they want a cut from everyone who uses it. So everyone wants to go off and do their own thing. But Tesla has said you can use our charging port, our cable connector for at least 5 years now. I think longer than that. And just nobody took them up on it, which I thought Lucid and Rivian particularly were going to go for it because you'd have instant access to the largest charging network on the planet. Why wouldn't you just pay a small fee to use that and sell your vehicles?
Yeah, I could see me carrying around my dongle, right? My dongle in my car, in my EV, wherever I go, I've got a dongle to take with me just in case.
You do. I have a charging cord in my underneath my trunk, and then I have my CCS adapter in there, and I got my my J12 adapter in my glove box. So I do have.
You gotta have. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah,
have
I do. I do
adapter.
have all my adapters now. I was lucky enough that the previous owner of my vehicle bought all those and kept them in the car for some reason. So I spent $0.00 on any of that.
Interesting.
So they sort of came with the car, you know. But yeah, you do have to have all of them. Now, have I used any of them? No, I haven't not used any of my adapters, not a single time, because I just have enough. I'm in Northern California. I have enough Tesla chargers around me.
Right.
That
California.
it's not even yeah. But do I keep them in my car? You're damn right I do, because I never know where I'm going to go on a road trip, and I might need that. So I do keep those in there with me. But all said and done, if you were to buy all those chargers, I think it would cost you about $300 to buy all the adapters. And when you're talking in the price of an EV, the $300 is kind of barely a line item, just to make sure that you can charge anywhere you go. And as it's been said here, I know there's a lot of people out there who do these long road trips. And if you can't find a supercharger, there are RV campgrounds everywhere. And RV campgrounds have 240 connectors. So you can go to the RV campground, you can plug in, and you can charge your vehicle through a 240 at an RV campground. And those are everywhere off the beaten path, of course.
Well, Bill Tench, this is interesting. Bill Tench, because I know where he's talking about. All right. So Martinsburg to Ravenswood, you left 90%. You charged in Morgantown for 15 minutes, and then you arrived with 10%? Morgantown Superchargers at the Sheets. Well, then that's well lit. Convenience store. So security is not an issue. Okay. Yeah. Because Sheets are well lit, but okay.
And they have good sandwiches, I understand.
MTO. Yep.
This is what I call my Kimberly outfit.
Yes. Thank you, Justice.
Yeah.
I happen to love that outfit that Justice wears. So he did that.
I wore this specifically because Kimberly has commented on it many times, and she loves it. So
I love it.
So I thought I would wear it for her.
Well,
I wear it all the time anyway.
There's not many people that can make that work, but you are one of the few who can.
He is.
There's not
this
many
happens
that
to
can
be
pull it
my
off.
favorite color too.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah. Real men wear pink.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Especially when they're charging late at night in a not well lit charging station.
Especially so. Yes.
Yeah,
it's like, don't mess with me. I've got my pink on. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Car.
Yeah. So it's all about confidence when you're out there late at night. Yes. Right. So if you can wear this, you're clearly confident.
I mean, that is something to be said, though, Justice. It is confidence because, I mean, yes, about that. But also for women and what we discussed today, you do have to have the confidence to to jump into a Tesla, drive a long way, know where you're going, plan it out, take the time to charge it. There's a bit of confidence there too, for sure. Because I'm a little trepidatious, about that.
That's absolutely true. There's a confidence into the EV thing and taking that risk and taking that plunge. I know very few people who have gotten into EVs and then gotten back out. There's some stories out there, but most people who get in stay in and they like their EVs. But there is something about the confidence of being able to jump in there and beat that range anxiety and understand the lifestyle. Because I will tell you right now, we can say it all we want. Look, you charge at home, you charge at home, you charge at home, you charge at home. It doesn't sink in until you actually start doing it, that every day you get up and you go out to your car and you have a full charge and you're just like, okay. And you just drive off and then you don't worry about it and you do all your errands and you get home and you plug in and you just start, the range anxiety melts away because you don't think about it. And you can say it all you want, but until you experience it, it's a different thing. Just like one pedal driving, which some people, Phil, if you're on, hate, but some of us absolutely love. I say once you get used to it, you never want to go back to having to use your brake ever again. And you can say it and you can say it and say it, but until you've experienced it and you do it, it never really connects home. So
makes sense.
I say, range anxiety is real. It's something that people have to get over. And you do get over. When cell phones first came out, right? We were all worried about our power on our phone. And then you just sort of plug it in at night when I go to sleep. So I don't worry about my phone battery. Well, same thing with your car. You plug it in at night when you go to sleep. You don't worry about it. You just, and if you got something, 300 plus mile range, you're rarely ever going to go that far in a single day. So it sort of melts away. So that's my final thoughts of the day. Let's get to Kimberly and then we'll go to Ray.
What for final thoughts of the day?
Final thoughts of the day, because we're overtime again.
Oh my God,
we're always overtime.
How does that always happen?
I know.
Okay, so my final thoughts of the day would be your final thoughts of the day. I did some research. I'm a little bit more open to Tesla. If I were to get an EV, it would be Tesla, only because battery degradation
Very
is
nice
of concern to me as well. And Tesla has the best when it comes to that. Tesla has the best of everything I've read when it comes to EVs. So I'm a little bit more eased into it. And I agree with you, Justise. You would have to get into it. There's a level of confidence there. Somebody said, as Nike said, just do it. I guess you would have to check it out and see. I don't know. That's me. But hey, one more thing. Yes, Tesla needs to market more to women, educate women on this, just like I get educated from you, Justise, and the rest of the team when it comes to EVs. Tesla needs to do a better job. Women influence 86% of the car buying decisions. They need to market to women and pay attention to their concerns. Have a great day.
I'm going to jump in real quick and agree with that, Kimberly. I think the whole EV market in general, as like most car brands, sort of skipped over the targeting the women who make most of the decisions, and they need to do a better job on that.
And my final thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like gas. The more gas I got, the better I feel.
Yeah. We're talking about vehicles now.
Oh, darn. I still like gas. Okay. Is the future an electric future? It very well might be. It seems to be, as far as the manufacturers are concerned, it seems to be headed in that direction. But for someone like me who drives less than 300 miles a month, I live in a condo, and so I have no place to charge. I'm not looking for additional inconvenience to go run around so I can find somewhere to charge my vehicle when it is time to charge it. It's not like you, where you get to go home and you plug your car in at night while you're sleeping. I would have nothing to plug my car into at night while I was sleeping. So for me, it just doesn't make sense. I'm not saying that it won't make sense for the majority of people at some point in time, but I think that some point in time is a much further along or much further out there than what we're presently projecting.
Mm,
Well,
very
as
good.
much as I would like to counter some of those points, these are the final thoughts of the day, and I already had mine. Damn it!
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait for another day to
Well, how
counter
about
some of those
Wednesday?
points. Yeah, how about Wednesday when we are going to bring on the lovely Miss Ashley, one of our car
Yes.
coaches here, for a stream, and I have no idea what we're going to be talking about, so it'll be a surprise for all of us.
I
on
can't
Wednesday.
wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was really fun.
Thank you for being here, Kimberly. Great questions. I love the take, and I love the different point of view. That's what we're all about here. So thank you so much for being here.
Yay.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday.